even if you have a low CRS score of say about 300, you still have a chance to be nominated.
Hey guys!
Welcome back to our channel. In the earlier video, we spoke about the immigration pathways to Atlantic provinces, and a lot of you found it absolutely useful. So if you haven't checked it out yet, please make sure to check it out, and I will leave a link right here. So after that, we've had a lot of you reach out to us and asked us, for a more similar videos for skilled immigrants. So in today's video, we'll be talking about the Alberta Express Entry program.
Guys, please make sure to stay tuned till the end of the video because we're going to take a deeper dive into what the various eligibility criteria are, how the program generally works, and we also will offer you some practical tips on how you can apply for this program. In the meanwhile, please make sure to hit that subscribe button and the bell notification icon so that you will be posted every time we upload a video. Please also make sure to smash that like button so that other people will also get to know about this amazing video. So without further ado, let's get straight into the video.
So let's first see what is an Alberta Express Entry program. So the Alberta Express Entry program is a category under the Alberta Advantage Immigration Program, which is typically an economic immigration program for skilled workers just like you to be able to immigrate to Alberta permanently. If you feel you have a particular skill set that can fill the job shortage identified by Alberta, then this program is just for you. So if you get nominated through this program, then you may apply for permanent residence for yourself, your spouse or common law partner, and even your children. But remember, you will have to financially support them. The greatest advantage of this program is that even if you have a low CRS score of say about 300, you still have a chance to be nominated. If you don't believe me, please make sure to check the table right here. So guys, did you know that Alberta nominated over 5,800 immigrants just this year? Who knows, next could be you.
So guys, now that you've understood what this specific program is, let's take a look into the various eligibility criteria. Now, in order to apply for this program, you need to be able to receive a nomination from Alberta. And in order for you to receive that nomination, you need to meet the following criteria. Criteria number 1 is that you must have an Express Entry profile in the Federal Express Entry pool, and this should not be expiring within the next 5 months or less. Criteria number 2 is that the job that you applied for in the pool must support Alberta's economic diversification and development. Criteria number 3 is that you must meet the minimum eligibility criteria for one of the federal skill classes, which is either the Canadian Experience class, the Federal Skilled Worker class, or the Federal Skilled Trade class. Now, if you're not sure what the various eligibility criteria are for these classes, please make sure to check out this video right here. Criteria number 4 is that you must have at least a minimum score, a CRS score of 300. And criteria number 5 is that you must have an intent to immigrate to Alberta. Now, you can state this intent by making sure that you select Alberta when you're creating your Express Entry profile. So guys, all of that seems pretty simple and straightforward, right? But if you are like me, you should have 2 questions in your head. Number 1, you must be thinking, how do I make sure that the occupation that I have is in the list that Alberta considers to be in demand? And number 2, how do I make sure I receive a nomination from Alberta? And guys, the answer is no one knows. And that is the plain truth. And that is also the beauty of this program. Now, it could be that, 2 people can have the same profile. One of them will receive the nomination while the other does not. Alberta has not sort of revealed what the various eligibility criteria are from an occupation perspective. So all that we recommend is that you make sure you keep your Express Entry profile up to date so that you have the maximum chances of receiving this nomination.
Now, the Alberta government has given a set of guidelines which can increase or decrease your chances of getting a nomination. So let's first see what are some of the factors which can increase your nomination. First one, you should have a job offer from an Alberta-based employer. And number 2, you have a brother or a sister, daughter, anybody who is a Canadian citizen or a permanent resident living in Alberta. And number 3, you're a graduate of a post-secondary Canadian institution. And finally, French is your first language. Now, let's move to the facts of what decreases your chances of getting a nomination. First one your Express Entry profile is about to expire in 5 months or less, then that automatically decreases your chances of getting nominated. And number two, if your job in the Express Entry profile falls under the Alberta ineligible job category, then that eventually decreases your chances. So if you want to know what are some of the jobs that fall under this category, please make sure to check the link in the description box below. And number three, which is pretty much out of your hands, is that as we already discussed, Alberta Express Entry program is just one stream under the Alberta Advantage Immigration Program. So if the invites for every other program is pretty much high, then eventually the Alberta government will send out less nominations for this. So that's not something that you can do anything about. But the first two, definitely something you can work on.
Now that you guys have understood the eligibility criteria for this program, let's take a look at how this program actually works. So step one is you need to create an Express Entry profile with the Federal Express Entry pool. If you're not sure how to create an Express Entry profile, please make sure to check the video right here. Now once you've created and submitted your Express Entry profile, Alberta government will go through these submissions and see who would be a good candidate to meet their needs. If your application meets their needs, they will then send an email out to you asking you to apply for getting a nomination. Now, if you receive the email, you will also be asked to provide various documentation so that they can verify that you do meet all of the criteria that they have set. Once you've submitted all your documentation, the government of Alberta will go through your documents, and if you meet all of the criteria, you will receive a nomination from the government of Alberta through the Alberta Express Entry stream. Now once you receive this nomination letter, you can then go ahead and apply through the Federal Express Entry pool, and you will be awarded 600 points. This almost guarantees you to get your permanent residency and move to Alberta. So guys, these are the various steps that you have to go through in order to get your nomination through the Alberta Express Entry stream.
Now that we understand how the program works, let's summarize some key facts to remember. Number one, this is an invite-only application program, which means if your profile is not selected by Alberta and from the Express Entry profile, then you do not stand a chance. Number two, you cannot use a nomination from a different AAIP stream to apply for the Alberta Express Entry profile, because that will obviously make it ineligible. And number three, if you have a job offer from Alberta, then make sure it is an Alberta-based employer and your job is full-time continuous, amounting to about 30 hours or more per week. And number four, always remember that all the information that you've given is true to the best of your knowledge, because if any misrepresentation or fraudulent activity has been discovered, then you will be banned for 5 years to reapply for your permanent residence through this nomination program. And finally, if you have received a nomination under the Alberta Express Entry stream and you haven't applied and it's about to expire, remember that you cannot extend it. So make sure that you act swiftly, and if you're deciding to immigrate to Canada, particularly Alberta, through this method, then you do it right away.
So guys, we spoke a little earlier about some of the great advantages of this program, such as the low CR score and the fact that you don't actually need a job offer to be able to get a nomination under this program. So another great thing about this program is that you can apply for a work permit when your permanent resident application is in process. Now, how you can do that is that you can request the Alberta Advantage Immigration Program to give you a letter of support, provided you have a job with an Alberta-based employer, and you can use that letter of support and send it to IRCC to process a work permit application. Now, unlike the Atlantic Immigration Program, where you need to make sure your job offer is with a designated employer, you don't have any of that criteria here. So as long as your employer is Alberta based and you meet several qualification criteria that you can see on the screen right here, you should be able to apply for a work permit. So a great perk to have. Finally guys, please make sure to review all the factors, eligibility criteria, and all the points that you've discussed earlier to make sure you stand the best chance of receiving a nomination. Now all that you have to do is to create the Express Entry profile and make sure that you put yourself in the best foot forward.
now that we have understood how the program works and what are some of the eligibility criteria under this program, let's see what are some of the costs and the processing time associated with it. So the cost for applying under the Alberta Express Entry program is 500 Canadian dollars. Now remember, this is in addition to what you will be paying for when you eventually apply for your permanent residence to the Federal Express Entry. If you want to know what are some of the overall costs for this program, just check out right here on the screen. In terms of processing time, there are currently about 240 applications in queue for this particular stream. So if you get nominated under this program, then your application may be processed fairly quick.
Guys, now that we have come to the end of the video, we hope we've been able to give you enough useful information for you to be able to apply under the Alberta Express Entry stream. Now, if you decide to choose to move to Alberta, it's a beautiful province and we are proud to call it our home. And if you want to know what the various pros are of immigrating to Alberta, please make sure to check out our video right here.
If you choose this as your pathway of immigrating to Canada, or if you have any more questions or concerns, please make sure to mention it in the comment section below and we'll try our best to answer them for you. In the meanwhile, just a reminder for you to hit the subscribe button if you haven't already and the bell icon so that you will be notified for our next video. Also smash the like button so that other people are also informed about this. See you in another video. Until then, take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye.